You ready to get rolling?
Yeah, we're one short, but we can
No.
see if somebody shows up.
Okay. All right, guys, I think we'll get started. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to WQMA. We'll get this thing kicked off with announcements. Anybody have any announcements for the group? No announcements. Very good. Old business. We do not quite have quorum, so we'll have to push approval of the minutes and just understand that today, unless more participants join us, we'll be just circulating notes for today's meeting and not have formal meeting minutes, which is fine. Michelle, any new business?
No.
Nothing for me either. Anyone else, new business? All right, we'll move into working groups. Committee reports, communication outreach.
Our September newsletter went out. We had a recent blog post
Yeah.
that came out, not specifically related to water quality, but important, nonetheless about spotted lanternfly. And just to follow up on that, if anybody, sees spotted lanternfly, if you could get a live one for us, that would be great. In a little container before you crush it. I've gotten a couple reports that people have with pictures, but they crushed it, and Ag Americans would like a live one, just yeah, because they haven't officially been confirmed for Cayuga County yet, so.
Okay, I mean, we're vacuuming them on a daily.
Yes.
What is the biggest threat? Is it the grapes? Is it
The biggest problem is the grapes,
vineyards?
because of the honeydew that they leave after they feed. It can produce all flavors in the wine, but they feed on 70 different plants, so there's a lot of other crops that could be impacted, and some trees and stuff if they really get going, because they'll suck the sap out of them. And so,
Which is a great segue into invasive species, I guess. Anything on this species? Other than-
So Natalie and I participated in conservation field days. And we did an invasive species booth for the kids, and we really enjoyed that. And hopefully they learned a lot from us. And there's a water chestnut task force meeting on October 17th. If anybody is interested, I can get you the information. That's all I have on that.
Is there a plan at the state level to deal with water chestnut on the river? You hear all the time. Just curious if you've heard anything or if anything comes out of that meeting.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's why this group has been formed, is to try to coordinate. Plus, FLOPA got there was a grant for the Oneida Lake area for water chestnut.
Big concern. I know Mark over in Onondaga County shares that concern too. And even though we have a short stretch cutting across Cayuga County, we hear a lot about it.
And it's been a big problem up in 8 and 9 Mile Creek, second Sterling too, really clogging up there. And so Michelle and I have been doing what we can to help pass along and connect those residents with people that can actually do something about it. So I think that's also what's kind of spurred this meeting to say, you can't keep just playing hot potatoes. Somebody's got to do something about this.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments on the working groups? Anything for environmental health? Did you receive anything? Okay.
Well, the hydrilla sampling is done for the season.
Yeah.
Or the hydrilla treatment and sampling are completed.
Couple notes on the health department, I can incorporate it part of my city up to too, but, we'll continue sampling for HABs in the water, raw water and the finished water, twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays so far. Numbers have been fairly consistent, but, and generally low, like nothing really over 1 microgram per liter. Everything's like 0.8, 0.6, 0.7. And 0 in the finished water, so that's been good for Auburn. Not sure at all the other drinking water purveyors, but we've been holding our own fairly consistent there. One other thing that popped up this week that I thought was kind of interesting is the state health department has been doing surveillance for COVID and wastewater across the state. City of Auburn participates in that, and just this week, they may have detected measles in the wastewater in Oswego County. So they put out a public notice on that.
I've been getting the alerts
So
from
you're
the health
You're
department.
seeing the alerts on that. To my knowledge, nothing has come back like that for Auburn's system, but something interesting that's being monitored out there around disease control and outbreaks, and wastewater and testing the wastewater for those constituents. So, anything else for health department? Parks, planning department.
Okay, I've got a couple things, and I'm gonna pump this over to Michelle, so the real quick updates, our countywide brownfield opportunity area, our BOA project is officially getting underway. We hired Fisher Associates. So the task force will have their first meeting in 2 weeks on the 14th, so yay, finally getting going. And then a reminder that on Monday, I know Evan's gonna send an announcement to Michelle to share with everyone. The second public survey for the countywide strategic plan is gonna open, both online and paper copies and stuff again. So please share that far and wide on your social media and with your other partners. And then also a very huge shout out and thank you to Carl, who sent a very nice email back to Michelle. That I will ask Seth to share.
Me? Oh my goodness.
It's short.
Dear Michelle, I've been meaning to congratulate you on your expanded job title, Principal Environmental Planner for Cayuga County. This seems to be a promotion within the Cayuga County Planning Office. We hope that it is, as you deserve high praise for extensive and exhaustive work that you do during regular hours, after regular hours, and after regular hours to evaluate and promote clean water and all forms of environmental protection and improvement, not only in Cayuga County, but all over the state. Your work is always on hand. You always do more than the committee members at the table with you. Hey, you knew. As a lifelong university educator, I can accurately evaluate your organizational and presentation abilities as excellent. Not only are you well informed, not only are you a well-informed general planner, but you are on top of the animal and plant sciences, which are foundational for environmental support. Again, Michelle, thank you for your superior work day after day, year after year. You make all our associates look better than we actually are. That is a descriptor of a great organizational leader. Most sincerely, Carl. So, very nice.
That, it's one of my people like to report. Thought that was very nice and proud of her.
That was nice, Carl.
So now that Michelle's embarrassed, Give your actual real updates on. All the work you do.
Okay, so currently, I'm working on the data solicitation that the DEC requested for any sampling data. I'm putting in the Alaska Watershed Lake Association tributary data. But the only parameter that I'm able to actually submit is total phosphorus. Because they're only looking for parameters that have adopted water quality standards. So I'm working,
Something.
yeah. We are doing pH now, right? We couldn't submit the ammonia data because we didn't have pH for those 2 years, but now we'll be able to do that in the next request. I'm also starting work on the data usability report for our 2025 data. The lab's been a little slow getting the data to me, so I'll have that done by the end of the year. I also got an email from a student at the University of Buffalo. He's participating in what they call Pitch for a Purpose competition, and they're developing Bloom Guard, a floating flower-topped hydroponic garden system designed to reduce harmful algal blooms by absorbing excess nutrients while also offering a visible, community-friendly benefit for lakefront areas. So they're looking to speak to anybody from this group who would like to speak with them. Their questions are how HABs are currently being addressed across the county, what challenges exist for municipalities in terms of cost, compliance, and long-term management, and whether a sustainable nature-based solution like BloomGuard could complement current strategies. So they're looking for a 15 to 20-minute conversation. I was gonna talk to them, but if anybody else would like to participate, I can set up a Zoom call with us.
Not obviously lake, but
When you were in college?
yeah. I've helped a few people out here with hydroponics.
Nice.
Oh.
Around them.
That's Frank and Adam.
Sure. Sounds
Interesting.
interesting.
I'll work on getting a call set up that we all can attend.
Okay.
Okay.
That's awesome.
And that's all I think I have.
Any questions for Michelle? In general?
Thanks for making us look good, Michelle.
I know.
Oh, we just got quorum.
We did.
Oh, there's Doug. Great.
That's
Down
us.
back again before.
All right, can I get a motion to approve our meeting minutes from last meeting? Yeah. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Well, who seconded it? Dan? Okay.
There was lots of seconds going on out there. Sorry. All right, Carrie.
You mean Doug? Want to go back to park?
Yeah, we're gonna go back to Doug. We'll go back to town parks. Hey Doug. You're on the hot seat.
Morning, y'all.
Morning.
I don't have any major updates for this group. We do have requesting for permit to do some dredging up at Emerson Park at the what would be the channel that goes around Deauville Island. Outside of that, Seth, we can talk offline about any of the water line replacement that's going to be happening at the boat launch because we have some wall work that needs to be done down there. So we'll chat later.
Okay. Yeah, keep me posted. That's good. Any questions for Mr. Delastrito? Oh, water.
All right, Doug number one didn't mention it, but Doug number two helped their office with the pond clean out behind their office. That pond's used as like a retention type of area and treatment area for anything, so that went well. That was one project. We had a lot of little projects we were trying to knock out. But first of all, I'd like to thank everybody that did participate in conservation field days. Just about representatives from just about everybody around this table were there. It was great, 750 people. I thought it was a fantastic day. Had a Noble Dairy experience up there too for the evening as well. Had a little meeting. wish, more people would have attended that, but it was great to be up there, and thank you guys for all the support every year for that field days. I think it's one of the best events of the year, especially when you got weather like this. I mean, you don't get too many September days like that. We did wrap up our ABC, our weed harvesting, aquatic weed harvesting for the year. Some lakes we found more, some lakes we found less, but I'm still analyzing a lot of those numbers, but we're glad to be off the water. It's a long season for the guys, so I think they're happy to move on to maybe doing some other stuff instead of being on the water all the time. I know it sounds, tough being out there, but those guys are in full sun all day long. They do a fantastic job out there pretty much from all summer long. Still doing some hydro seeding. Grass is growing great this time of year. We did get some periodic rains. The weather's been good. The dew's in the morning. Grass is just popping on the ground. So we're going to keep hitting that as long as at least for a little bit longer. Then we'll shut it down. It's been very dry. I mean, if you look at a pond out there, it's hard finding spots to get water nowadays. That's probably the lowest I've ever seen that pond in 30 years I've been here. So things are really, really dry out there, which is great because nothing's running off, right? So we got that going for us, but it's pretty dry. The harvest season started, so we see a lot of crops coming off, and then get some funding to do some cover crops this year on some of those fields. And then for us, it's just grant season. Ag on Point, CRF are starting to come out. We're starting to meet with folks on any potential grants. So about to continue to be busy, let's say. Open for any questions you guys got.
Your staff did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
And it is fun to go out there. That couple days in the sun, by the way.
Okay.
And the kids all have a good time.
That they do.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Doug, how close do you still coordinate with the partners out back here with the digester?
Great. They had if you guys saw it, they had their open house. It was a ribbon cutting ceremony because they were back online and running and bringing in recyclable food waste products. So it's quite the operation. Quite the operation.
Who's doing that?
This is a Generate Upcycle. I imagine we started years and years ago, and then we leased the property out back, but they did a ton of upgrades, and they have a lot of trucks rolling in. They even put in a renewable natural gas plant down there, so they're taking that, and that's piped right into the main NICEAG line. And unfortunately, they flare a lot because in the summertime, not a lot of people use natural gas, so there's an excess already in the line, so they have to flare it. But this time of year, things are going to start picking up for them to be able to sell it back to the grid. But they produce electricity. We still buy some from the grid, but powers this facility, the annex building for the sheriff's department and their stuff down there.
Do you think we could get like a tour at some point?
I believe so. I've talked to, when they were here for that ribbon cutting, I told them we'd like to do some local tours, like a community tour, and then something for maybe this group. They're like, absolutely, something they definitely want to do. They're in budget season right now, so it might be, if not
Something
next month,
spring.
or some other time. Yeah, springtime. Yeah, they were definitely on board with it. We asked them if we can kind of use them that way to host the tour. It's pretty cool down there.
Nice.
Actually, the stuff that they bring in, the stuff that they do.
I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah,
Sure.
it is. It is.
Yeah, if I could just ask a question, I mean, yeah, so Doug, this is something that whole world of like, what you're describing, like it's what is it again? It's like a cogeneration facility?
It's a digester facility. Yeah, so they take food waste from, that's rerouted from going to the landfills, and then they take and process it. So liquid, it comes in containers, so they have all kinds of separation equipment. So if they get a truckload of, I've seen everything from leftover bagged fruits and vegetables from Wegmans to, like pallets and pallets of White Claw or beers or tomato paste. I mean, just all kinds of different food waste in larger quantities. So let's just say they got a bunch of spoiled product that was in aluminum cans. They would take that and they actually separate all the aluminum out, all the cardboard out, all the separate products out, and they recycle the aluminum, they recycle the cardboard. I mean, it's really amazing what they do. And then what they do is they produce electricity. If they're running the generator and, or as the off gas of the materials are gassing, then they actually scrub it all and put it back into the NICEAG pipeline. So they have two different sources of energy that they're creating down there with just all the food waste.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah, I'd love to get a tour of that. That's just something I'd love to know more about and to know if that's something that, if that, could the region support more than one of those, or is it sort of like, once you've got one, you know, you're good for a large geographic area? But that's a sort of a bigger question. But thank you.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Anything else for Doug? Thanks, Doug.
Sure.
All right, solid waste management.
Yeah. I unfortunately missed the conservation field that was due to illness, but I did get invited to the Seymour Library's Connect and Learn series. So that was September, early September, did a nice presentation on waste reduction in the home. That was well received. So that was good. Only other thing is we've got two waste recycling events coming up on October 18th, the electronics waste. That's going to be held at 3 locations throughout the county, one at the community college in Auburn, and then at the 2 highway garages in Ira and Venice. And then the other event is the household hazardous waste event. That's going to be held here on October 25th.
And you still have a lot of slots.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of slots left, probably about half for each. So that's like 300 slots left for the e-waste event, and then like 100, 150 for the hazardous waste. So.
You mind sending out your solicitations again for those events?
Sure. Yeah,
Certainly.
I can have Michelle send them to the
Thanks.
group.
Thank you.
Great. Dan, Cornell Cooperative Extension. One friend.
So just some upcoming things. Our annual meeting is scheduled for October 23rd, 6 o'clock over at the Senate Fire Department. Everybody's welcome to attend. We're gonna have a speaker from New York FirmNet to talk about some of the challenges with mental health in the agricultural community and what resources are available to help. On October 28th, 29th. Our partners with the regional agriculture team are holding farm tours. One at Spruce Haven and then at Dumont's that you can register for. We can get that link out to Michelle.
It's free to register.
Yep.
Just have to register because there's time slots.
Anything of this?
Our giant pumpkin growing contest weigh-in is also the 18th. I'm also doing the Connect and Learn thing with Seymour Library. We're doing a garden cleanup and just fall gardening workshop Tuesday next week, the 8th at 4. I think that's it.
Okay. We're good.
Any questions? Good. City of Auburn update. I'm going to give a little bit of an update on our water. We're currently blasting down at the wastewater treatment plant. I'm not sure if you've heard or seen anything on social media around that for our 1 million gallon overflow retention facility tank. About 5 more days of that. It's kind of interesting. First time I've been around controlled blasting before, but it's quite exhilarating. It's bigger than I thought it was going to be. But all the utilities are protected with vibration sensors to ensure that they stay within the design thresholds. But that project is progressing nicely. And the Wasco Lake tributary or stream assessment project continues to move forward. I know our consultant just addressed the 9-element planning committee on our last month's meeting, looking to get a draft close to finalized here in the next month or so. And with that, they'll be doing some public outreach, some presentations, likely at a management council meeting sometime over the winter, potentially a city council meeting. But we can share that document as it gets closer to being finalized with this group as well. Any questions for me?
We understand that final report, that assessment will be sort of a pathway to funding subsequent grant projects. It'd be really
the hope.
good to, get in front of our partners from the districts and such to see if some of the recommended BMPs align with district interests and
Funding.
funding for the future. So hopefully we can get together more closely on that topic too.
No Town of Owasco, Cayuga Lake report.
Yeah.
TN. TN? Yep, there you are.
Yes. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
You were asking me for a report on
Cayuga Lake? Cayuga Lake,
you,
Lake Association reports, sorry.
that's fine. Actually, I am here as Keith Batman's alternate. So I am not, I'm not prepared to
That's
give
okay.
a presentation. I know that we have had, I can speak locally from Aurora. We've had HABs pretty badly along the lakefront in Aurora and in the northern half of the lake on the east side. And it has had something of a chilling effect, but there's been a lot of sampling and yeah. So that is pretty much the extent of my firsthand knowledge of what's going on in that portion of the lake. I think that Isaac probably and is here for Quail and
Sure. Yep, no problem.
Okay.
We'll move down through the agenda and we'll have Isaac in a bit for any update from him. So thank you. Sorry to put you
You're
on the
very
spot.
no, that's okay. Keith was supposed to update me here and
No worries, no worries. All right, Cross Lake report, we got Carl's sorry. Yeah, Carl's very nice letter to Michelle. Anything else from Carl that you've heard? Hey, this is my blasting call in an hour, so we're gonna be blasting in within the next hour. Duck Lake report, Lake Como.
Well, we're still working on researching, setting up a special tax district so we can raise some money through taxes for lake residents. So gathering information on assessments and the town of Summerhill just hired a new law firm who specializes in municipal stuff. The guy they had over in Moravia wasn't answering their calls or anything, so she's getting me some answers to some questions I've come up with. And I'm kind of targeting, the town was saying, well, we can push it through, tax district and get it through if we brought in a petition in October, which is the 14th. And then November, they could have a public hearing, maybe get it passed, get it in the budget. It's too fast for us. I have too many people that have too many questions that, we need to answer before we come up with a final plan. So next year, we probably won't be doing any treatment on our lake. But what we did this year seems to be did a very good job. Solitude came back and reviewed, checked the lake in the end of August, 1st of September, and saw very little evidence of milfoil, especially at the end where they did it. And even at the north end where they didn't treat, there was very little built oil. The other plants seem to be doing well. Everybody's talking about water being, the lakes being low. Our lake is staying high because of the beaver dams. We don't have any shortage of water, so, but it's at a level that's manageable for everybody. People are starting to pull their boats out, docks, so it's quiet right now. That's all I have.
Great, thanks. Interested to hear more about your process with district formation as you work through that.
Yeah, I think it take, well, they were saying we could do it very quickly, but question I have is, I've heard from some people that, you have to get, the only ones, like, if you do like a referendum, the only ones that can vote on it are the people that actually live there year round.
Oh, that's right, I remember.
But, which is, we have, I think there's 77 parcels on the lake, and probably about a little less than half of them are year-round residences. But I think, from the questions they actually got from this law firm, like they sent me some printed stuff, it looks like if we get a petition of all the property owners, whether they live there year-round or not, and get enough of them. But the question I have is how many do we have to have to, have the town pass a local law? And what I've been told is that they'll, if we get enough signatures, they have a public hearing at the town hall, they approve it. It's a done deal, they put a line in the budget, and basically, we can just, the process would be, we'd have somebody come in and do something, we submit the bill to them, they write a check and it's done. If we do some repairs on our weed harvester, I'm hoping we could just, here's the bill, we did this much repair work on it, get a check, get reimbursed for it. And so, it sounds like it's gonna be a fairly easy process, but the question I get from everybody is, how much is it gonna cost everybody per thousand? And I'm starting to put a pencil to the number. They got the total assessment for all the properties around the lake. And how might I'm gonna schedule some meetings with some key people on the lake, how much do we think we can actually get people? And then there's the question of, can we just do, and that's the question I'm waiting for the answer back from the lawyer. Can we say, okay, there's 77 parcels, so every parcel gets hit, let's say $100 a year because they all own property touching the lake, and then raise some money with that, and then the rest of it, so much per thousand based on your assessment. So we're struggling with that right now, how we're gonna fund it. The number I'd like to do is gonna kill everybody. They'll shoot me if they falls that, so we got to do a much lower number. But they tell me we can carry it from year to year if we don't spend it. So yeah, we'll see. It's gonna, and that was, so I'm kind of targeting for the 2027, get it on the 2027 budget. Take our time with it, make sure we can notify everybody and talk to everybody and I want to get a lot of opinions from people. And hopefully I get enough support to do it. But, most people say they'll do it. There's some that won't.
Did you have a question?
He answered.
Perfect. Anything
I
else?
beat you to it, right? You did.
Thanks, Pat. Appreciate the update. Alaska Lake report.
Nothing major, beginning to slow down on all the projects seasonally. Internally, though, Aula is looking at some strategic planning. We're preparing a survey for volunteers. There's, with all groups, such a need for more hands and arms and boots on the ground. So we're working with that and putting up some effort into grant writing for funding for the HWA to continue while we wait for our little beetles to be prolific out there in the watershed. We don't have to treat trees anymore, but we have 11,000 trees that we are raising funds for treating within the next year. And We participated, I already mentioned, in the conservation field days, a project that just occurred last week, working with Adam, a cleanup down one of the tributaries to the inlet in the lock area. I have a question. I'd like to, it's not related with, as a representative of Allah, but from those that are here, who remembers when they changed the mean high water mark of Owasco Lake? How many decades ago did they raise the lake level of the lake to change the mean high water mark?
I can provide you with the map that the city uses from the US Army Corps of Engineers, but I think it's from like the 80s.
The 80s? Okay, that might have been a little, okay, thank you.
But
I'd
if you want to
appreciate
quote
having
me,
that.
I can forward you that.
Appreciate
that. I think there's a date I can't get into my
No, okay,
records to
There
pull
is.
that.
just something I was just wondering about
Mhm.
there. So that's it. Any questions?
Let's see. Nice Skinny Atlas Lake report. We
I
got-
don't think she's here.
Do you want me to say something about Skinny Atlas Lake?
Sure.
You can,
Okay.
yeah. And
Uh,
you can give your report as well, because you're the next one up anyways for partner reports, Aaron.
Oh,
So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, there's not that much to report. I would say, we've been a little bit slower off the jump, in terms of getting our implementation plan and everything rolling for the Skinny Atlas 9-element plan. We had a meeting back in the spring or like early summer, just to kind of figure out, like what is everybody already doing? There's lots of activities ongoing. So we have to have another meeting here in the fall to kind of actually come up with more of a coherent strategy. So that'll be our next move. I don't have that planned yet, but that will be coming together in the next few weeks here. I'd say the only other thing that we've been working on, Bruce Keplinger, the GIS guy in my office, has been working with Adam on that new map for Owasco Lake and its tributaries. So I don't know if everybody has that's sort of a separate thing, but I mean, I think that's a really cool product. It's now got all the tributaries numbered. We still have sort of a question mark as to what constitutes like, approval of that map here at the Regional Planning Board, but we'll work with you guys to figure that out. So that's all I got.
Appreciate your help and support with that project. We have Isaac.
Yep. Thanks. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. So a couple of updates. I haven't been to a WQMA in a little while. So we, over the summer, submitted a grant for some small stormwater projects throughout the watershed. And that's also a collaboration with the Seneca Lake IO. So it covers both the Seneca Lake watershed and the Cayuga Lake watershed. It's a planning grant. And I think our hope is we'll run through this one and then probably do another round of planning for these kind of smaller stormwater control projects. I've been doing outreach over the summer to multiple municipalities, and we're continuing that through the fall. Some of those are presentations to a full board. Some of those are just individual meetings with supervisors and mayors and highway superintendents, whoever that may be. We're continuing to work on a TMDL implementation guides to kind of supplement the TMDL, hopefully give us a little bit better priority BMP recommendations for each sub watershed that's broken out in the TMDL for Cayuga Lake. We're working on the Cayuga Creek area. It was a sub watershed that was chosen as the pilot watershed. So once that's done, we'll get a better idea of how we want the entire guide to look. And we're continuing research on the Seneca Cayuga Canal. That's partnering with the FLI, and I know Lisa's there today, so she can talk more about that since FLI is the one actually doing the research on that. I'm just there to help. And lastly, our October meeting will be on the 22nd. We'll be at the Bolton Point Water System down in Lansing from 3 to 5, and there'll be a tour of that. So it's not too big of a travel from Cayuga County if anybody wants to come down and join us for that.
Any questions for Isaac? Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. We'll switch gears over to Lisa. Morning.
Beth. I'll start with some Prism updates. I think it's been a long time since I've been here, and I'm not sure who on our staff has been here, but we do have 4 new staff members that are part of the Prism, and they have participated in some newsletter writing and or blog posts and things like that. So we're still in the middle of field work, but it's been really great to have a fully staffed Prism that the whole state has. We have, basically a full-time coordinator plus an aquatics person, a terrestrial person, and an education and outreach coordinator. So those are the 4 core positions. And then we also have a field work coordinator. So we're really super well staffed. It was a very busy spring doing a lot of interviews, but we have fantastic people and all is going well with that. Some of the things that we're really focusing on right now is spotted lanternfly, just with the tree of heaven senescing at this point, and as the spotted lanternfly are moving on to other, I guess, vegetation that might be available. I mean, our crew's been doing a lot of work in the Cayuga Lake watershed over with some of the vineyards there, and obviously working very closely with as many state partners, Cooperative Extension and Ag and Markets and IPM, just trying to coordinate messaging and information sharing. So that's going well. We're going to be launching into Hemlock Building Diligence soon, including we have a contract for a grant from this U.S. Forest Service to do some HWA treatment in Watkins Glen State Park. So continuing that. Macrophyte surveys continued all summer and work with the Army Corps on hydrilla treatment and just doing some of the monitoring of that and working with the DEC as well. I'm not sure if everybody's heard this, the round goby has been found in Cayuga Lake at this point. That has been confirmed now. So it was Seneca a couple of years ago. Now it's in Cayuga. So just more information. I guess the other thing that was thinking of was the conversation about sterling and some of the water chestnut projects that are going on and all the conversations. I know there's a working group going, but we do have a grant from U.S. Forest Service working with state parks because the state park that's up there, the part that the FLI is leading is actually adjoining private land where we can do treatment or removals. And so that is going to be rolling out. Lydia Martin from our terrestrial lead is helping with the permitting and working very closely with state parks because of all of the DEC requirements for doing any work moving forward. So trying to just tighten things up a little bit and, make it a little bit easier on the state agencies as well with all the paperwork that they have to review and do. The Cayuga Seneca Canal work has been going on. One of the reasons, the drivers for that is if we look at like the Seneca County watersheds, the Cayuga Seneca Canal is a big part of the county, and it's not officially part of the Seneca Lake watershed or the Cayuga Lake watershed, so there's no funding available to do any projects in Seneca County. So we've just been doing water quality data or the water quality assessments, nutrient monitoring since last spring, just trying to assess that and also looking at HABs. And I have a student working on that. We had a summer research student doing that. Obviously, Isaac and some volunteers from the Watershed Network have been very involved with that as well. And my student is doing an independent study this semester, and we'll be kind of writing a document to present to the county to be able to include this piece of water in some sort of watershed that might be eligible for funding for then any projects back in the watershed itself. I think the last thing I'll just mention, we have some publications that have come out over the last couple of years now, kind of putting my research hat on. Been working with SUNY ESF and Abby Webster, PhD student, looking at Benthic cyanobacteria and some of the toxin-producing Nostoc that's been identified in the Finger Lakes. This was in Honey Oil Lake, but she's also continuing to draft manuscripts that should be coming out soon. We have a PFAS paper on fish from Seneca Lake, working with the Seneca Lake Trout Derby folks. And also an assessment of watercraft steward program and some data recently, just some demographics of the launches and who, you know, what we're finding, how often they find things. And so we're trying to put our, a lot of time into the, you know, getting some of those publications out as well. And I guess last but not least, the buoy. Everyone's heard about the very sad buoy situation, I believe. We noticed through I mean, we know that people go and get on the buoy. It's kind of an attractive nuisance in the lake. And so there was like, you know, things that were happening to the buoy, with wires going down and things like that. Somebody hit the platform at one point and damaged it. And then we don't know exactly the motives of people that were continuing to come back, but then things were getting dented and smashed in. And it was still operating. The buoy's tough and water quality. And we like to think that we're a very resilient group, but at some point somebody ripped all the housing off of the buoy and the solar panels. And basically I think they stole and did everything that they could do. And so we had no power left anymore. So we were going out a couple weeks ago to put a camera on, just to, you know, obviously try to catch perpetrators in the act, because we've been in contact with the state police and the sheriff, just to keep them apprised of this. And but that's when we discovered the final straw, if you will, of no power. And it was like, well, there's really no point in us trying to retrofit more stuff onto the buoy platform at this time of year. So we talked with Michelle and decided to pull the buoy out, which we did on the 19th, I think it was the Friday. It was a beautiful day. So we are, you know, going to be analyzing data, and we put it in on April 10th. So we have a good amount of data, but obviously September, October are very important months with regards to HABs and just trying to understand what's happening with water profiles and temperature. So we're sad to have missed that, but we didn't really have much of a choice. So now,
What's the outlook for next year?
not sure.
How much damage was caused? Is it like almost complete?
Sounds cool.
It
Or
was.
you gotta total it?
I mean, we do have insurance, I should say, so we will, you know, we're waiting to do the final claim until we brought it in, and then we've just been busy since then. But, you know, it's in the, you know, it's over $50,000 with, you know, the buoy itself is, you know, 150 to 200,000, so it's significant.
Yeah.
Luckily the sond was at the bottom of the lake, right? We always park the sond at the bottom of the lake, and so nobody wanted to swim down to the 150 feet, you know, so I guess they weren't that engaged in the sabotage, but you know, but it's all the housing, the solar panels, the connectors, the data transfer, you know, all of the, you know, it's, and then the platform itself has dents in it. And my understanding from John is that there used to be some sabotage to the pontoons, and I don't know if anybody has any information about that. I wasn't as familiar with that. I know that a couple of years ago when he was still doing it, the platform was found listing at one point. But if anybody hears anything through the grapevine, we are obviously interested in figuring out who it is, and we'll enhance our security. And the sheriff has been very helpful, like as far as the conversations go. I mean, they're concerned about it too. So.
Lisa, regarding the benthic cyanos research.
Yes.
That you're working on. Are you, as part of that, investigating the extent to which cyanobacteria is accessing nutrients from the bottom?
We focus more on toxins, you know, from a public health perspective first, just because we know that there's a lot of benthics out there. We just don't know that much about the toxin profiles. So that was really the big part of it. And we have done some nutrient assessments. And this was also part of some Great Lakes work that Abby and Greg Boyer's involved with this, and Roxanne Rosavi, and then some professors from Cornell. So that, you know, it's a big team plus the FLI. So over the years, we kind of started in the Finger Lakes, but then we moved into Lake Ontario and looked at Lake Ontario shorelines when the Cooperative Science Monitoring Initiative happened at Lake Ontario a couple of years ago. We did this benthic work as well. So there was some sites up actually in Cayuga County too, where we've done some assessments, and nutrients are part of it, nutrients and sediments. And some of that is, that's the next paper that's actually written, but we haven't submitted it for yet, but looking at nutrients and toxins, all those things. But really the first focus was, are these things producing toxins?
Thank you.
Mhm.
And I'll just add real quick, Michelle and I talked about the buoy, and so it's still budgeted for next year, so we'll be working closely with you to figure out next steps and a solution, or how we want to repurpose that funding so we can still get whatever data we can get out of the lake.
Sure.
So,
I do think it's a really important data set. I mean, it sets the frame for understanding everything about the lake and building on the last decade. You know, it's not many places have the information that Owasco has. So I really hope we can continue to figure out a way to do it.
That thing's been in the lake for how many years?
2014.
You know, exactly. Somebody would come in and do it. It's just ridiculous.
Time for a trail cam.
That's what we're putting on actually our lab. We have a, you know, and we will be.
The remote ones.
Remote ones
Yeah.
that were operated that were close to the cloud, right?
Yep, no signage up there.
Got you like
Video
this.
surveillance.
it's unethical for us to put electric fence around this.
For you it is, but not necessarily for us, right? Yeah. But we have talked about those sorts of barriers too, like just to make it more difficult for people to pop up there.
Yeah,
That's great.
So.
sorry that that's happened. Pain. Yeah. It's likely like kids being just
Yeah, being kids.
kids. Not even thinking.
I don't know. I mean, sorry, am I taking?
I would hope that it's kids being kids.
I mean, this happened on Labor Day weekend, right? So, because, you know, we can tell exactly when it happened because we take measurements
Yeah.
all the time, every 10 minutes. So we just assumed that it was kind of like holiday reveling that, you know, because it was around midnight on the Saturday night, Labor Day. So we were like, okay. That's why we assumed that it wouldn't continue, but whoever, and we was like, oh, it's probably some out of towners that were here on the lake doing things. And then obviously when we came back 2 weeks later, we were like, nope, that's not the case. We're there staying here for a really long time. So.
All right, any other questions? Thanks for the report. That's very good. We're gonna move to the management council, I think last but not least. And
Thanks. Thank you, Seth.
Mhm.
Good morning, everyone. As of this morning, there were 85 blooms documented on NY Habs, the state portal there, and through Owasco's HAB surveillance program. So, you know, obviously not a strict enumeration, but gives some sort of general perspective on where we're at with HABs for the year, fairly consistent with where we were at last year. We've been supporting some watershed residents, primarily Lakeshore residents, with their observation submissions through the portal, as well as through a foam reporting tool that's now operational regionally. And it's through this firm, Global Aquatic Research, we've been working with, and for which we submitted an endorsement for their state funding proposal for funding the reporting tool and better studying HABs, the constituents that are found within, or rather foam, and constituents that are found within foam. In some of their early research, they have found that there are surprisingly high levels of PFAS in the foam. So they're looking closely at PFAS. This group, GAR, will be providing an update on this project at the October board meeting. So for those who are interested, of course, public meeting, all are welcome. So Anne mentioned the lock cleanup site. We're really happy to see how well that went, working with Momentum Environmental. And that was a site of concern that had been on our list for the watershed inspection committee for a number of months. And several of you in the room are members on that committee. So we're happy to see that site get cleaned up. And they haven't billed us yet, but once we get billed, we're happy to partner with Aula, and Aula did the fundraising to help to cover the cost for that particular effort.
is there any issues with the characteristics of the waste as far as when they got there, that nothing that surprised them?
Nothing that we've heard of yet, and I expect we would have heard of such already if there were. So I think, as we expected, and based on the early analysis, it was, you know, it seemed like waste vegetable oil. Maybe someone was collecting for biodiesel.
Yeah.
Okay, Aaron McKeon mentioned the regulatory map we're working with CNY Regional Planning Development Board on. That's for the watershed rules and regulations. The criteria that builds out the map are the same. It's not increasing protection so much as it is making the criteria and the layers in the map clearer for us and for inspectors to see what's going on. The most recent layer that the staff for CNY Regional Planning was able to add is just aerial photography. So we can see some lowland characteristics, site-specific characteristics while doing inspections in the watershed. We recently procured our Venice boundary signage. So we have a new preserve in the town of Venice, so a nature preserve. And we procured boundary signage. So we'll be looking to schedule getting out there and posting the boundaries for that preserve this fall. Also regarding the Venue Committee, again, thanks to Michelle for all that she does. She's been keeping us honest and keeping us moving forward with regards to measuring our progress and outcomes, the various projects and programs that we've developed since the committee came to be. And so we hope in October, for our October meeting, that will provide an opportunity for us to actually vote on finalizing that progress report. We'll also be discussing pathways for circulating among our respective groups, so we can really get the message out there that we're all working hard to make progress on our clean water plan. Also, our physical watershed model, it's an educational model, has seen some use recently. All the members have been great at leveraging that resource, and I know it was Dr. Joya used it at the recent conservation field days, and then I understand that Julie Lockhart is looking to borrow it again in an upcoming event as well. So it's good to see that used. And then also, just for some organizational logistics, our board members are working on developing some bylaws updates, something we've been talking about for months, but we're finally nearing completion on that project. Looking for some legal review of the document before we bring it under resolution for approval for the board. And then we're also looking at 2026 budgeting. So that's it for me. I'm happy to answer any questions. It's always good to see everyone.
I have one question. So back to what the DEC will accept as far as state limits phosphorus only.
We had ammonia data, but they would only take it if it had the pH and the temperature.
Okay.
And we had NOx data, but they only take that for Class A waters, and none of the tributaries were Class A.
Okay.
But they're accepting TP, even though there isn't a real standard this time.
And that's what I didn't understand. Michelle had.
Well, we talked about the 9-element plan. Oh, we'll talk about one, right?
Yeah, but
9-element plan for
phosphate, state provides guidance values. And not so much standard. So the way that they, they phrased it in communication with Michelle didn't entirely make sense to me, but.
Doing what I said, so you just want this data? And they said, just this data, after I explained everything I had.
So we will have pH through the monitoring sond that we use for this year's tributary monitoring program. And I believe it was included in the QAP, right? Or the addendum on the QAP, so that hopefully we don't run into issues there with pairing the.
We have a QAP for the instrument. It isn't part of the sample, the owl sampling. It's a separate QAP, but.
All right, well, you've got the approval, then it shouldn't be an issue pairing those data. And having you leverage then the pH data for upload.
We may have to do a data usability report, but that shouldn't be too bad.
Well, thank you, Michelle. And thank you for making the most use possible out of the data that we're collecting. Appreciate it.
It's tedious, but I'm doing it.
Appreciate
Anything else for the group? I'll entertain a motion to dismiss.
I'll move it.
Second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you all.
Thanks.